Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel, and today let's look at some of the most interesting history photos which sometimes you don't see them even in history books. We're gonna start off with this one. This is from 1972 and this is British schoolgirls in Hyde Park, that's right, in London, protesting against the caning, a form of corporeal punishment. We have here like the sign "No to the cane." Now, caning was a very typical way of punishment in school and other institutions where they would literally hit someone with a stick, which is quite painful on the body. Now, this was practiced a lot back in the 60s, 70s, even 80s, and maybe even early 90s in some countries. So yeah, this is something that it's not that good because it could give you a lot of pain. Now, this one is a extremely cringy photo. This is Donald Trump and Marla Maples and players during the Hoopla basketball tournament to benefit the Special Olympics June 25th. Look at him with his face smiling there, and oh my god, I mean, just look at that. This is the typical photo of a businessman who knows how to sell himself effectively by putting himself in the middle of a photo like this. Just hilarious. Now, you may not remember this, but back in 1956 something crazy happened. Here we have a photo of a group of African Americans, including civil rights activist Rosa Parks, who are actually just casually waiting at a bus stop following the Supreme Court ruling that Alabama's racial segregation laws for buses were unconstitutional. That's right, back in the day they had segregation for the buses, and people who were white and black were not allowed to mingle together in the same bus, let alone even stay in the same station. And we've gone so far since then, and this just shows that back in the day racism was just extreme in America just in the 50s, just after the Second World War. Stuff like this were still happening for quite a long time, even after the end of the Second World War. Now, these are portable cabanas on a public beach in New York, 1938. Now, this is quite interesting. I think they use this to change, potentially, and to be honest, it's quite smart. I mean, obviously, this day and age, nobody uses this because it's just a bit pointless and everyone has their bikini, so it's fine. But back in the day, this, guys, was actually quite a famous way of changing your clothes at the beach. Now, just imagine one of the most terrible jobs potentially in the world back in the day, super manual. This is listening to copies of the Beatles' Rubber Soul in the quality control room at the EMI pressing plant in London, England. Just imagine listening to the same song hundreds of times. I mean, that is just insane, guys. Maybe some of you may like it, but after you listen to the same song like 50,000 times, I'm pretty sure your brain is just going to explode. Now, this is the night view of the people which were jammed in the Times Square celebrating the end of World War II in Europe, 1945. This, guys, is an iconic, crazy photo, and it just shows that people get together to celebrate effectively the start of a new era. Of course, the freedom of the world, or better said, the shifting towards a more open world where people could travel again, go about their daily lives without having to worry about a potential war going on to their doorsteps. And because it's Christmas, why not show you guys a photo of a typical Christmas party back in the 20s. This is the Western Electric Co. Christmas party in Washington, D.C., December 1925. I mean, look at that poor Christmas tree. That just looks absolutely like horrible. I mean, who made this Christmas tree? Look at the decoration. I mean, it's just completely horrible. That is so ugly. Nonetheless, guys, this is the Christmas tree decoration in a company back in the day. Just absolutely shocking, to be honest, to say the least. Now, talking about the World Cup, guys, this is actually a bunch of troops actually posted on the Mexican troops outside the Azteca Stadium in Mexico in the 1986 World Cup before the opening match of the tournament. I mean, just imagine the amount of craziness people had back then, that you will need literally tanks and military to effectively protect the stadium from crazy people. I mean, that is just insane, guys. I do not believe that people or football fans would go so crazy for football. That must be just an intense year and also an intense day for the football fans. Now we have here a photo of Pele in Sweden in 1958. This is colorized and this photo is just amazing. Look at the images, look at the flags, look at the streets and the cars and society, the people. Like everything was so much more simpler back then, and it just looks like you're literally just going into a window into the past, and this photo just screams about vintage culture, guys. 1958. Now this photo is just amazing. Like scooters actually existed even in the early 20s. This is an English nanny driving a freaking motorized pram in 1922. Now why this has gone extinct and why people are not using them now, I just cannot believe it. Just imagine the efficiency of having a motorized pram and more motorized stuff. Like it's just amazing. Now we have electric scooters, which is really good, but back in the day people were already using this technology, which was effectively really good and efficient. This photo is the North Carolina tobacco queens in tobacco bikinis. That's right, you heard it right, guys. Tobacco bikinis in 1950, because back in the day in the 50s, there was a big push to promote effectively cigarettes. Like companies and corporations would try to sell you the concept that toasted cigarettes and toasted tobacco is effectively, you know, makes you popular, makes you smart, makes you cool amongst the ladies, and they would use all these strategies to try to entice people effectively to buy as many as possible, and it actually worked. And this was just one of those examples of the strategies they used to effectively sell as much as they could to the American public. And guys, that's it for today's showcase of some of the most crazy, impressive pictures of the past. As always, I shall see you later in the next uploads. Bye.